Afternoon, this is Everett's Watercolors. Welcome to my classroom. Today I'm going to do a watercolor demonstration painting, and it's called Sailing Ship. Now last night I broadcast with my studio paintings. I was working in my studio last night, and I did the drawing ahead of time for today. And let me go show you what I used the grid system for transferring, and what that is, this is the photograph I used as a reference, and I put a grid over top of a 3/4 inch grid, and then I drew a grid on the drawing paper and transferred the points on the drawing, on the picture, over to the watercolor paper. So I drew the grid here, and then I transferred those points over here. Now today what I've done is I've erased all those lines so that they don't show up in my painting. And I'm going to paint this scene today, which is a sailboat with 4 masts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sails, and water and some sky. What I've gone after I finished cleaning up the lines, then I went ahead. I put some masking fluid down, and I used the fine line mask pen, which has masking fluid in it, and I put that up here on this little flag, and I also put down in the water to save the whites that I have. Okay, and the rest of the whites, and also we'll go back to this photograph again. Let's see, yeah. Could take you back to the photograph. I'm going to change the colors quite a bit. I'm not going to have the clouds up there, and I'm going to change the colors. The water, of course, will have a little bit of similar colors, but I modified the painting a little bit to make it flow the way I like to see it. So this is a demo, and over here in my palette I have lemon yellow, yellow lemon, and I have pyro red and cobalt blue. Now I have these diluted way down with a lot of water. It's probably going to be, I'll test it here on my test sheet. It's still a little hot. That's still a little bit too much. Okay. Just 1 of 10. And then the blue. Okay. So I'm going to use, in order to paint the sails, I'm going to use a multicolor sail color. And I'm going to use the yellow, red, and blue on the sails. So my first step is with clean water and a separate brush, I'm going to wet the sails with water. I'll start up here on the top right. So I'm putting water, I'm painting with water on these sails to get the paper wet, and then I'm going to put the colors on top of that. Okay, the paper's damp. Now I'm going to start at the top, and I know that the way the colors mix, I'm going to keep the blue and the yellow away from each other because I don't want green on my painting, so I'm going to have the blue. Now, so I'm going to start up here at the top with blue. Then I'm going to transfer to the red. Check my color again. That's nice. Okay. and I'll leave some white paper. So I'm really painting the colors of white, because white is not a pure color. It has reflections from the sky, it has reflections from the surrounding area. So we're using the property of reflection here to give us a different color of white than what you would normally see. Okay, now that's going to dry nice and light, which is what I want. Just a tint of color. Okay. All right. Now, so that's got to dry. I want that to be dry before I do anything else. So while that's drying, I can work down here at the bottom on the boat itself. So let me start with a round brush, and I'm going to, let's see, I think I'll use I haven't used this color in the painting for a while. This is a alizarin crimson. Alizarin crimson. It's a beautiful red, and I'm going to use that in the boat color. I think that'll show up very nicely. So I'm using a round brush because it's not a very large area, and I've got this part masked off because the water with the waves is right there next to it, so I don't have to worry about painting the water. I'm just going to paint the ship at the space of the boat. And over here on this side, on the other side of the wave, this is a alizarin crimson, which is a nice rich color. It's a beautiful color. Okay, I'll let that dry. Now when that dries, it's going to dry lighter, so I may have to go back and add some more color in there. And let's see, on top of that, I'm going to use a little bit of, this is burnt sienna. I'm going to paint the railing on this boat. This boat here, I'm going to put burnt sienna here on this section. So while that sail is drying, I'm working on the smaller sections of the boat here while the sail's dry. And later on, I'll do some touch up, and I'll actually be using colored pencils, because some of these smaller areas, I'm blocking in the colors right now. But then I can go back with a brush, but I'm going to do the cleanup with colored pencils today, for just minor areas, just little places to touch it up. Let's see, I'll go dark here, now here on the mast, now here on the bow, and I think what I'll do, yeah, the correct pronunciation of that paint is alizarin crimson. I have problems with that sometimes, but I know the color. A little bit there, okay. All right. Now on the boat itself, leave it there for a while. Let's see. Okay. What I'm going to do, because I want to get working on the sky. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to mute the sound. I'm going to mute the sound, and I'm going to put the hairdryer. Okay, I'm back. That was just to get that extra little moisture off the sail because I don't want to have the water run on me. All right. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean up my palette because I'm going to mix the sky colors. I'm going to clean up the this porcelain palette. Is very easy to clean. It's a real smooth surface and it just wipes right up with a paper towel or with a sponge. Okay, so what I'm going to do, the first color I'm going to put in for sky, I'm going to put in ultramarine blue. That'll be the top color. And then as I move down, I'm going to transfer into cobalt blue. I'm going to transition to cobalt, which is a lighter color, like a medium blue. And then I'm going to put one more color. I'm going to put cerulean blue, which is the lightest color. So let me adjust those. Let me adjust those colors a little bit more. I'll put a little more cobalt here. So when I lay out the colors on my palette, I'm also planning the value and the colors that I'm going to put on the painting. So I lay all the colors out that I'm going to use. So I have a dark, medium, and light value blue, which is what I'm going to put in the sky. Okay, now with just one brush. Okay, now I'm using one large 3/4 inch natural hair brush, and I'm going to start at the top. Nice big bold strokes. This is a big area, so it's going to take a lot of paint to cover this area, but that's why I made a big puddle. And I'll go over the top of this masking, and then I'll come down. My design is marked in. I'll follow the lines. Let me see, turn this around so I can see what I'm doing. So I'll follow my sketch. On the side. Now while it's still wet, move the paint around so I have all the coverage. Okay, now I'm going to move into the cobalt blue. I'll paint around this sail. And bring it around this side. Continue with this cobalt blue over here. So this color is really going to make this sail stand out with the blue color against the blue sky against the white sail. Okay, now my last color, which is down by the horizon, is going to be cerulean blue. And that's my lightest blue color. Come down, again, follow my sketch. Down to the horizon line. And move on the other side. I'm trying to move as quickly as I can. While the paint's still wet, they merge together very nicely. I don't leave any ugly lines. Okay, now I'm going to take the round brush and go in between a little bit here. So the cerulean I'm going to put in behind the boat here, underneath the sail. Down by the horizon. Horizon's the water, really the water line. It's splashing out there. So up here too. Following my sketch. And one more little patch of blue over here. Now there's a little patch up here in up here on this near this mask, which comes down here. I'll fill that in with a round brush. This is the sky that shows between the sails. There's a little patch of sky coming through there. And there's just a little bit up here on this side, just a touch. Just give a little more detail on that point. Okay. All right. Okay, now I guess well, let the sky dry up here. I don't want to put anything around that wet paint right now. So I'll go down and play with the water. That way I'll cover in almost all the whites. I've got the white sails in, the sky. Now I'll work on the bottom here on the water. So I'm going to use the same colors basically I use in the sky. I'm going to use the ultramarine blue, a little bit of cobalt, and then in the foreground though I'm going to use a little bit of special blue, peacock blue. Okay, it's got a little green to it. I'm going to mix a little green in with that. Okay, so starting back here on the horizon line, I've got the white. It's got to be darker than that. Let's see. The water will be darker along the horizon line. Pick up the bigger brush. Okay. Now down on the other side, the horizon line it's really not a straight line because it's really waves out there that's moving in the water. So it's got a rocky horizon line, and I'll make that darker too. So I want that horizon line to really pop out. So I put extra paint in the brush to make that horizon line really show. And as I come forward, the blue gets a little bit lighter. And around the bow here, I'm going to be very careful. Okay, I'm going to go back to my big brush. I'll pick up a little bit of cobalt now, a little lighter blue, and finish off the water. Now this peacock blue, which has got a little bit of green in it, gives a wonderful ocean color, because the ocean has blue and also has a tint of green in it, a tint of green. So I'm going to take advantage of that with this color that I have in my palette, which is peacock blue. And I don't overdo that, so I'll go back and pick up some more cobalt. And so I'm mixing in the cobalt now with that peacock blue. When you're painting, you don't want to overdo one color. You want to kind of have a nice little mixture. This way, this gives you a nice variety of colors, even in the water. Now, of course, when I mat this off later on, you know, a lot of this will not show. Just putting all the colors on there, just to finish up the paper. Okay. Sky looks a little bit rough up there, but that can be smoothed out. Okay, let's go back now. I'm going to put in the some of the masks. Some of the masks, M-A-S-T-S, masks. I said mask. So I'm going to get a little bit of burnt sienna, nice brown color, and get a little bit of yellow ochre. So between those two colors there, I can start with a lighter color and roll the brush, get a nice sharp point. And I can start up here in this mask here. I can go up here and put the top of it will be a little bit lighter with the sun light shining on that mask. And maybe this one over here also. And then as it comes down, in the shadows here, it'll get a little darker. So I'll put the burnt sienna at this point. And I'll bring that down to about right there. Okay. And the same way, this one over here is the same way. In the shadows, I'll bring this down to here. Just a little wider. Okay. Now these cross beams here, they'll hold the sail. This one here will start out dark, and as it comes out into the light, it's a little bit lighter. And this one will same thing, a little bit darker here to be in the shadow area, and then a little bit lighter as it come out into the light. Okay, now there's the darker one down here underneath. This is the beams that hold up the sail down at the bottom. And this will be in shadow. And this will be lighter over here. And this will be lighter over here. And then this the big beam underneath there for the big sail will be almost in shadow all the way. A little bit of light spot over here. Okay, we're roughing that in. And while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and put in the bottom of these masks come down into the ship. So these are parts of the structure, and these are little lights and dark areas. Okay. Then there's lots of color. There's lots of color on the. There's tarps and different things that are painted different colors. So I'll pick up that peacock blue, and I think I'll put some peacock blue in here. This is where I can use some of the brighter colors on this boat. This is where my center of interest is in the structure of the boat. And then I can pick up some. Yeah, I'm talking to myself here as I go along. I'm putting in bright colors around the area, I guess the focal point here. Here's a green number 1. Putting into the focal point area. And I'll even put in some yellow lemon in here. Again, just to give a variety of color, but also to give a little bit of interest and so forth. Hey, there's a shadow side to this structure here. Be a little bit of burnt sienna. And I could even put a little bit of opera, a little bit of pink. Okay, I got two figures on here which I'm going to put in. So I'm going to put them. There's one on this area here, and there's one there. Two little figures. So I'm going to put them in life jackets. So I'll use the orange, and I'll put this one right here. I'm going to put the orange color as a life jacket right here, and the other figure is over here. I'll put the life jacket color on here. A little bit of orange. Okay, then I'll take the darkest color in my palette, which is royal blue, and I'll put a little dot there, which will show. Basically, that's where the head is. Okay, I'll let that dry a little bit. Let's see what I can do now. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the shadows in the sail. That's what I'm going to do next. So I'm going to use basically one color here, so I'm going to take out the brown. Take out this peacock blue a little bit here, and take this brown off of here. Okay, so I'm going to mix up cobalt blue, and a little bit of burnt sienna. And maybe add a little bit of quinacridone violet, just a little bit. I'm trying to make a nice medium gray color. I'll go back to that cobalt. And I'll take my test sheet here. That's pretty heavy. I'll water it down just a little bit more. Okay, that's the value I want over here. This lighter value, okay? Which is the same mixture, but with a little bit more water in it. Alright, so what I'm going to do is take the 1/2-inch flat brush, rinse out the round brush, rinsing out the round brush, get the water out of it, because I'm going to use that as my blending brush. The round brush with just water in it will blend the edges of the paint. Now this one I'm going to make sure it's clean. I take that brush, had yellow in it before, so I take it, wash it out real good, and then I put it against a paper towel or tissue and make sure that the color is clean. There it is, it's clean. Okay, so I'm going to load my brush with that light or medium gray. Now load the brush from both sides. Okay, and the first shadow is going to be on this front sail here, the jib here. So I'm going to put that shadow in there, and the light's going to hit. Probably going to shadow about 1/3 of it, or maybe this third of the sail. Okay, come back here. Now remember that the color is going to dry lighter, so even though it may look a little dark now, you have to plan ahead and say, okay, I know that's dark now, but it'll lighten up as soon as it dries. So this one comes around this way. This has a little curve to it. So I wanted to emphasize that little curve. Okay, this sail is rounded because that's the one that catches, that's the one that the wind's blowing up there. So I take that wet, damp round brush and I'm going to blend the edge. That'll give me an illusion of roundness, or a little curve to that sail. just by wetting that edge and softening up. I'm softening up that edge with a damp brush. Okay. And let's see. Using the same brush now. Now this sail inside is going to have a shadow. It's slightly darker, but it's going to be right behind this sail. I have to use the round brush to fill in some of these spots because it's a small area. So I'll load it up with a gray and use the round brush now to fill in this spot. This has got a little curve to it because it's the shadow cast by that forward sail. So it'll have a little shape to it. So I'll do that. Okay. Then there's two more shadows. The next shadow is the one on this middle sail, and it's going to start up here, and it's going to come down behind this middle second. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. The second sail is casting a shadow on this third sail. So this is a shadow that's being cast by the second small sail. And it's going to have a little bend too, because it's got it's at an angle, so it'll come out like this, a little wider. It'll come down, and then it'll have a little curve, a slight curve at the bottom, just to give it to show that it's cast shadow from that smaller sail in front. So that shadow is on this sail, is being cast on this. The shadow is cast here from this one, and this one's casting on the second one. Now the last one is the big. The last one is the big sail. So I'll start up here and bring that color down. This will be behind. This sail is ahead of this one, so this one's in the back. So it's the back sail or the rear sail. So it'll come back and it'll follow the curve of that sail, and then it'll come out and bow out a little bit more. And yeah, I like the way this color is working out. It's nice, and it's a medium gray. It's not a real dark gray. It's not a real light gray. It's a nice medium gray. It's got a warm color to it from the quinacridone violet and the burnt sienna. They're warm colors. When you put them in with blue, they turn the gray into a warmer gray, which is what I wanted, because this is the sunlight hitting these waves, but these are the shadows that are cast, and this will have a shadow under here. And this will come out. This will bend a little bit now. This will bend a little bit in to stay consistent with the shape of that wave, of that sail. Okay. All right. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn the mute on. I'm going to put this hair dryer on to dry real quickly. Now use the rubber cement pickup to take off the masking fluid. Start up here with the little flag on the top of the mast and move down into the water and remove the masking fluid from the white caps. The masking fluid is real easy to take off it goes on easy and comes off easy, and a nice way to preserve the white paper to give you all the highlights. Okay, it completes the masking fluid removal. Add in the watercolor, a little bit of darker red up there on that little flag. Don't want it too bright, but I do want to touch of red up there. A little mixture of red, pyro, and a little bit of glycerin crimson. I'm checking the other colors on the painting, and it looks like I want to add a little more. The glycerin crimson on the boat has lightened up after it dried, so I'm going to add some more color on top of that to bring that color up even stronger. That's a beautiful color. Glycerin crimson. Nice rich red, dark ruby red. Nice color for a boat. Using a round brush, taking my time, getting all the little extra detail on the boat. This is the impact area. I'm taking a little slower time and getting all the brush marks right. There's a little bit of yellow ochre there to touch up a little bit of the bow. A little piece of wood there that's connected to the bow. Lighter color of using yellow ochre. Now using the colored pencil, this is the same pigment that's in my palette. So I'm going to touch up a little bit of the blue. I use the watercolor pencil to touch up the painting, smooth out some of the edges, make minor corrections. It cleans up the edges real nicely. Fills in some of the white spots, makes the edges a little sharper. But I use that in very small areas, just to tune it up around that sail, clean those whites up a little bit along the edge of next to the sky. Now switch into a little bit of, I got a yellow ochre and also a burnt sienna pencil. So I'll work on some of those beams and masks. I'll clean up the edges a little bit there. A little lighter color at the top. That's like a yellow ochre color at the top part. And then the darker brown in the shadow area. A little darker brown in the shadow area. Again, sharpening up those edges. And then those beams that go across the bottom of the sails, darken those up a little bit, get a little more shadow. A little darker color, a little sharper edges. down and follow the mask. Okay, clean up the edges with a darker pencil. Clean up the spots. Very, very minor touch-up. Now the gray watercolor pencil, use that on the inside of the boat to give a little, like a shadow, just to tone down that white paper is still showing. That gray will kind of tone that color down and give it like a little shadow pattern inside the boat. Now this will also add a little more interest there, but mainly to tone down that area inside the ship. Little minor marks here and there to clean up little edges, tightening up some of the colors. Adding a little detail to the figures on board, showing an arm, showing them to doing something aboard the ship. Adding a little detail to the figures. Yeah, touching up a little bit of, not much detail on the water. It's pretty well finished the way it is. Happy with that. I'm looking at the sky. I think I need to add a little blending to the sky to bring some of those marks together. So I'm going to mix up some blue color. Clean out the palette with a sponge. I'm mixing up some cobalt blue. That's be a good color to add to the colors already on the paper, and it will smooth out some of those marks and make the sky look a little more gradual shift of color. First of all, take a clean brush with just water and re-wet the paper where I'm going to add the color. Just a slight wetting of the paper, not too wet, not too dry. It'll make the paint move faster, make it move easier. Then I start at the water line and move up, going around the shapes, adding more color, smoothing out some of the color that's in the sky. Removing some of those brush marks by blending together the blue colors. This is like a glazing technique. I'm just glazing a light wash of blue with the paper, and then glazing with a light wash of blue over top of the existing color and smoothing out what's there. smoothing out the brush marks, giving a more smoother transition of blue from top to bottom. I think it looks much better. The final touches here, which I want to add to this, is the rigging. So I'm going to use just a mechanical lead pencil. It's got a 2B lead in it and a straight edge. This is my see-through ruler, and I'm going to draw in a line from here to here. And rather than using a paintbrush or just a pencil line, we'll indicate that line there. Then I'll put one over here to connect these two. And this sail will connect here to the main mask. And there'll be one more down here. This will give the sailboat a little more realistic look with the rigging. And just using a pencil, it's down here. Okay, I'll add one more little touch. It's on the bow here. There's a little piece that hangs down. And then there'll be some ropes. And there's some other parts here that could be included, like the crow's nest and so forth. There's some lines that could come down here to the, let's put one here, coming down, and we'll run another one down here, and from here we're going, now there's this part's in shadow, but there's usually a rope ladder that runs up to the masts, where they can climb up and do maintenance on the sail. There's all kinds of rigging here. I'm just going to put in a few lines just to indicate a little bit. Back here we'll run some more. Maybe I'll bring one more. I guess I'll put two more lines there just to give a little more feel. We'll have a line running down this way into here, and one more line running down here. And let that dry. We'll put one more over here. Okay. I think that gives it a little more feel with the rigging of lines across the sails. Gives a little more realistic look of a sailing ship. And we'll put the mat around that one more time. Well, that concludes the painting on the sailing ship. Let's start out with a drawing last night, transferring over to a sheet of watercolor paper, and then today finishing up the painting. I like the way it turned out. It was a larger painting on a quarter sheet paper, but with the large sails and with a large sky, they took up most of the space. So a lot of brushwork to get that done, but it was a lot of fun painting. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it too. So I'm going to be back again on Thursday with painting rainbows, and then again on Saturday to paint along. And I'll have some information on my video announcements on the downloadable files that you can use to paint along on Saturday. So have a safe day and a safe week, and we'll see you on the next video.